The Adriens Departure by Dani V. Adrien. Published in 2004, The Adriens Departure is a nonfiction book written by Dani V. Adrien. Her documentation and investigation telling the odd mystery, story, and self-investigation of the death and quick disappearance of the Adrien family. Dani Valerie Adrien, born in 1981, is a British-American woman, best known for writing nonfiction stories about her family, whom of which she never even met. Interviewing the current family, others associated with the Adriens, and the odd quietness of the robotics entertainment company, VA Party Co. Chapter 1. The Adriens.
My name is Dani Valerie Adrien, and I started this expedition in 2000 when I was 19. With a connection to my friend's forensics lab and lots of hard work, I'd like to share with you something that might change your way of life, or the way you see people in our world. Something that's old but new to the eye. So, let's start from the beginning for me. From what my mother has told me about the Adrien family is that there were some issues. Victor Adrien and Vivian Adrien, my grandparents, were once a happy couple with a perfect life. From what my mom was told, my grandmother died falling off of the roof. She was never told how she died, because my dad never really knew himself. I was told my dad was a kind, smart man. I loved to hear the stories about him. After that, my mom said that my dad and Uncle Billy's life was hell. Quoting my father, my dad became corrupt, selfish, and just distant. I lost the man he used to be, and only wish my brother didn't have to see him like this. I wish I knew more about what happened to change my grandpa so much. Mom doesn't know, only because Dad was at a loss. What I do know, though, is that my grandfather was extremely smart, making mechanics and old performance machines for children's entertainment. What I'd learned over time was about VA Party Co., the company he owned for set animatronics. Machines that somehow got smarter and acted as if they were truly one of us. Full of life and energy. How can someone program something like that? Unless it was never a program? Falling deeper down the rabbit hole, I went to Party Power Pizza. By went, I mean I had to break in. Looking around inside, I found almost everything packed up. Though few things I saw were weird, others made me sick. Old toys, rotten food, junk, and weird drawings of a boy in the head of Edward the Party Bear, one of the old animatronics that used to perform. So, I moved on. However, I did find a basement. But when I went down there, I found trash bags of decomposed bodies, which smelled horrible. Alongside 2 tables, there was dried blood on the floor, along with bits and pieces of machinery. This hole only got deeper. The more I went down, the more I wanted out. Yet, despite my better judgment, I kept going. In my research, I found out that 2 of the skeletons belonged to 2 people who had been dead but for a few days before their graves were robbed. Both took place in 1982. First, a Mr. Daryl Maxwell, who had a history of being a children's entertainer for birthday parties, who eventually died from a tragic car accident. Then, the other body, Mr. Joshua B. Fielton Jr., a loving brother from a big family, who was a genius, but went insane from his untreated depression disorder and fear of death, which together caused him to commit suicide. In police reports, both bodies were dug up the same day and the day after. VA Party Co.'s Party Power Pizza blew up in revenue and popularity. Now, if that isn't a coincidence by itself, then the bodies found in said basement just prove the point that Victor Adrien, my grandfather, dug up 2 graves and did some horrid experiments with human life. As I said, he was an incredible genius. But how in the hell is something like this so possible? Now, when I tell you I wanted answers, I wanted them. I tried for months to see him, but somehow he was busy, or the company wouldn't allow me to speak with him. yet I'd see so many others get into meetings with him. He wouldn't even let my mom in. So it must be a family thing. But why? I kept going back to Party Power Pizza. I only found the same things over and over. But as of today, August 12th, 2002, I noticed something small. Something so small. I had been missing it for months. A small, tiny speck of dried blood. But the blood had been mixed, so it took longer than I expected for reports to come back. But when they did, I felt myself drowning in tears. I didn't think it was possible. The fact that this hellhole only craved horror and death made me puke. I only wished I was dreaming. Though it was never truly confirmed as deaths, and I hoped now, I was more worried than I'd been in years. I refused to tell my mom about this. The fact that this blood was my dad's and my uncle's blood, they went missing at different times, yet how? How could their own blood end up in the same place? What was really hiding under the floorboards? VA Partico? Victor Adrien? Death's grave robbery? Yet so quiet. At the end of the day, I still wonder the same question. Why?